Hi, everybody.
Hello, I'm Ryan.
I'm Bethany.
And we are Ryan and Bethany Board Game Reviews.
And today we'll be talking about My Little Pony Adventures in Equestria. This is designed by the Renegade Game Studio design team, and it is published by Renegade Game Studios.
You guys, I would not call myself a brony, right? But I would say that I do, whenever the girls are watching, our two daughters, we have a 5-year-old and a 9-year-old daughter, whenever they're watching My Little Pony, I don't, walk out of the room.
Yeah.
I'll finish the episode.
See what's happening. Yeah.
It's just a really fun world, and so when we heard that there was a deck building game in that world, we were very excited, not only for ourselves, but especially for our daughters. So we were very keen.
Yeah, for the kids. It was for the kids.
We were very keen to try this one out. So this is a cooperative deck building game where you are trying to overcome all these hurdles, these final challenges. You're trying to collect sugar cubes, which is very on point, on theme. Let me give you a quick overview of how it works. All right, here's our setup for My Little Pony Adventures in Equestria. This is a cooperative deck building game, so we're going to need a lot of cards, right? Well, here's our adventure row right here. This is where we're going to be able to buy all our different cards. There's 3 main types of cards that you're going to find in the deck. Basically, we have the action cards, we have the ally cards, and we have artifacts. They all do different things, but primarily they operate the same way. The purchase cost is in the top right hand of the card. There's 3 different resources in this game. This one is the arrow. This is how you're going to move around. We also have the horseshoe, which is the help. We also have books, which is the info. So you're going to pay whatever the resource says. In this case, 3 of the move token. When you play the card, you're going to get whatever's on the left column here, or whatever's in the text. So for instance, this one over here, you're going to buy it with 5 of the help, 5 of the horseshoes. When you play it, you're going to get 1 of each symbol, plus target player gains 1 sugar cube, which is fantastic. Sugar cubes are kind of like the ultimate resources in this game. That's going to be how you can complete all your objectives. So that's how the cards work. Like most deck builders, we also have kind of a weak starting hand of cards. We have different characters in this game. There's going to be kind of a large, oversized card that's going to give you some special abilities. And there's also kind of a matching smaller card that's going to go into your deck. You're going to shuffle that up, and that's going to be your starting deck. So every player's going to start off with a little bit different abilities and different things that they can add and contribute to the team. We also have kind of a little movement area over here. This set of 4 cards represents the town. We have these little movers here. These are the upgraded wooden ones, which I really like. Normally they're standees. But basically, you're going to be able to move around. You can spend those movement points to move from card to card. So for instance, moving from there to there costs 2 of the movement based off of where we ended up. And then also, there's these different tasks on the card as well. Different things to give you different abilities, turn things into other things, and a lot of them involve some way of getting sugar cubes, which is really important. After you've completed a task on a card, what you're going to do is you're going to take one of these little task tokens, and you're going to cover up that task showing it's already been spent. Now there's a town square here. You don't cover up those tasks. Those are kind of always available for you. If, however, anytime any card is completely covered up, you're going to discard it and grab a new card. If your mover is on a card, you simply just go back to the town square. A lot of our cards and abilities are going to give us these little tokens, which are really nice. These are things that you can save from round to round that give you certain resources. This particular one says 2 of the books, which is your info. However, every single one of these tokens, regardless of what it is, when you flip it over, provides 1 of any resource you want. So let's say you had a whole bunch of these, you had a whole bunch of the knowledge, but you really needed the horseshoes. What you can do is you can flip them over, and it'll give you 1 of the horseshoe, which makes it flexible and really helpful. All right, so how do we actually win the game? What are we trying to do here? Well, we've got these different hurdles, and ultimately we have a final challenge that we're trying to get through. The hurdles, they're all kind of ranked between level 1, 2, and 3 at the top right here, corner here, and they get increasingly more difficult as the game goes on. Also, the final challenges are especially difficult. They all have some kind of a threshold over here of how many clouds they can hold, and basically you want to try to minimize how many clouds are on each card. You want to try to get through these as fast as possible. At the end of every turn, another cloud, one of these little cloud tokens over here, is going to get added to the hurdle or the final challenge. If you ever have too many on a card, it's going to flip over and start being added to the final challenge, which makes your end of game a lot harder. However, if you are able to overcome it by providing whatever resources it needs, usually in the form of sugar cubes, you're going to complete that, and you get some kind of a bonus as well, some kind of a reward. However, keep an eye out for these chaos cards. At the bottom of all these cards that were not used at the beginning of the game, there's a bonus little chaos feature. So most things will say, at the end of the hurdle, flip over an extra chaos card. It's going to say you're going to need to require some extra kind of resources in order to complete this. So you never want to go into a hurdle or a final challenge having just enough resources to finish it, because you're always going to need to have extra resources in order to overcome those chaos cards. So the main thing you're trying to do in this game is you are trying to work together to get as many of these sugar cubes as possible. These sugar cubes are going to be how you progress through the hurdles and through the final challenges. They have this nice little sparkly glitterness to them. And basically, you're trying to get as many as possible, get through those challenges as fast as possible. If you and your teammates are able to finish all of the hurdles and the final challenge before they get filled with those clouds, you and your teammates are going to win the game. And if you ever thought the game was too easy, there's also these situation cards that you can add to the game. Basically, these are going to get mixed in with the deck over there, and what's going to happen is when they pop up, they're going to start adding additional clouds to the situations, or to the hurdles, which is going to make it a lot harder for you. However, you can pay resources to make them go away. So the better you are at this game, the more situations you want to add to make the game that much more challenging.
I love the locations in this game, how the ponies can travel to the different locations, and all of them, besides the main town center, but all of the other ones have an option on there to where you can turn in something for a ton of sugar cubes. Like, all of them have that. They all do different things, and the sugar cubes that you get are different in the places, but there's always that option there. And since that's like one of the big things you need to defeat their hurdles, it's nice that you can always try to build up for that. But I really like just the walking to the different places and going to the different places and trying to complete those tasks. I thought it was really neat, and I like seeing all of the places in the world.
This is a game where I was very excited to show to our daughters, right? This is like right out of the box. Oh my gosh, you guys, you're going to love this. No, they were so excited. Yeah. But at the same time, you want a game where kids are going to be excited about it, but you also need a game that they can learn easily.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it needs to be involved enough to where, the parents can have a good time, or, grown-ups can have a good time playing these games as well. I have that balance really nicely. There was complexity there. There was next-level thinking.
Yes.
There was strategy involved. But at the same time, each individual action that you took was very simple and easy to talk through. And because of the cooperative nature of it, you could, say, give them options. Oh, maybe you could buy this card. You could, maybe you could
play open-handed. So, like,
you could work together on it. Yeah. Exactly. Without taking over for them. We definitely want the kids to play their own game, but at the same time, they can ask questions and we can help them through that because of the cooperative nature of it, and also because of each individual action is not overly complicated. Yeah. So this is kind of hit that middle ground perfectly. It was a game where thematically the kids loved it, mechanically they were able to handle it, but also from a difficulty standpoint, we were still found challenge and enjoyment out of it as well.
Speaking of challenge, I really liked the situation cards, and I don't think we'd ever play without those. So those just make it harder to play the game. They come out and they keep adding clouds. They just make the game difficult, and you have to spend resources to get rid of them. And like I said, I don't see us ever playing the game without adding that little bit of challenge in there. I really liked those cards.
Deck building and engine building as a whole, some of my favorite mechanisms in games. And I'll never be a person who's upset with just a pure deck builder. Like Dominion, sign me up. I'll play it for all day long. Yeah. However, that being said, being exposed to games like, let's say, Clank, that added just a little bit something to do on the board. You had actual boards and movements and things like that. Opened my eyes to that. Wow, you can do some really cool things with deck building being the main driving mechanism. And this had that. That had those locations that you could move around from. Yeah. So it's deck building with something else that did it a lot.
Deck building plus.
Exactly. Yeah. And it didn't detract from the deck building. It was in addition to. It was like it was an extra things to do on your turn, extra ways to gain resources and kind of help you out in your situations, which I really enjoyed. I thought that was a nice touch.
I also really liked the ramp up to this game, how the hurdles were built on top of each other, the challenges, and how they, the levels that they have, and they got harder and harder as you go. And I felt like that the pacing of that worked really well. So by the time you get to the big bad, you should have resources to at least try to attempt it, right, with stuff that you built up. So I felt like the first challenges made sense, and you had a little bit of time to build up to try and beat that, and a little bit more time. And I just thought that the pacing and the difficulty of the hurdles was really nicely done.
I will say that this is not a game that you open the box and you're playing, Some games are like that. This deck builder, there's a little bit more setup involved with that. You have to kind of pick out which hurdles and which final challenge you want to use. You have to shuffle those up. You have to shuffle the ones that you didn't use up. You have to shuffle up the main deck of cards, the adventure deck. You have to shuffle your own deck of cards. You have to pick out which characters you're going to use, add it in those cards. There's basically just kind of a whole lot of kind of maneuvering and setting up. If you had the situation cards in, that adds a whole other element of things you need to add in and separate out and move around. So the setup for this game is, for a card-based game, pretty lengthy. It's not that it's crazy. It's not it doesn't make the game unplayable by any means, but at the same time, just be aware of that. This is not a game that you're not going to open up the box and be ready to play, shuffle a deck of cards and go. No, there's going to be a little bit of time there.
Okay, but here's the thing. Here's what I really think about this game. Are you guys ready?
I'm ready.
Are you ready?
They're ready.
Okay.
Everyone's ready.
This game is lovely, and I really enjoy it. I just think that Renegade Game Studios just has their pulse on cooperative deck building. Like, they just get it. They understand how to make them. They understand how to make them individual and unique. Like, I have not played a cooperative deck builder from them that wasn't fantastic. Like, I remember when we played the G.I. Joe one, and I know nothing about that world, and I was like, into it. I was mad that I enjoyed it because I wanted to go to bed, right? Do you remember that?
I do remember
that.
that.
And I wanted to go to bed, but I needed to know what was going to happen. And this is the same thing. Like, I really enjoyed this. Even if I knew nothing about My Little Pony, even if it was just the card game, I would still super enjoy this because they just get it. They totally get cooperative deck buildings. They get it.
Well, I think you mentioned something important there, which is, people probably wondering, if I'm not a My Little Pony fan, and I'm some, big macho guy, am I going to like this game?
Yes.
If you can put that, if you can get past that hurdle mentally, I think absolutely you're going to enjoy it.
Oh, yeah.
There's more going on here than just, little happy little ponies doing whatever it is. There's rich mechanisms and fun deck building elements in this game that I think you're going to like. It's not for everyone, right? But at the same time, if you like cooperative games, if you like deck building games, if you like My Little Ponies, I think that you're going to find that this is a game that it's going to hit the table quite often.
And our girls really liked it.
Yes, they asked for it quite a bit. Our 5-year-old, she gets it, but our 9-year-old really gets it.
Yeah.
That's probably the best way to word that.
That's a great way to put that. Yeah. Everybody, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe so you can see your videos as they come out. Until then, you can find us in all of these places.
You guys, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.